All right, apparently episode 39. Clinton, William Jefferson Clinton, Democrat. He's going to mess up his own legacy with the impeachment trial over an affair with Monica Lewinsky, a White House intern. Bill Clinton, a moderate Democrat who found success in a conservative America, oversaw a vigorous 1990s economy that enjoyed unparalleled economic growth. He balanced the budget. That's insane. Most presidents can't and don't or won't do that, but he did that, and it's pretty incredible. In 1992, the Democrats chose Bill Clinton as their candidate despite accusations of womanizing, which clearly happened because then it even happens in the White House. Drug use and draft evasion, and Al Gore as his running mate. When they talk about drug use then, they were actually referring to marijuana. He famously says that he didn't inhale marijuana. That was the drug use that they were talking about, like not other big drugs. About whether he inhaled marijuana when he smoked it. Unbelievably. There he is, a little boy. There he is as a really roughneck hippie with Hillary. Democrats tried a new approach promoting strong defense, big military, and anti-crime policies while campaigning to stimulate the economy. Republicans focused on family values. Maybe they'll come back when he officially decides to run. Ross Perot is a third-party candidate. He gets close to 20 million votes. That totally hurts Bush. If Ross Perot had not been a third-party candidate, Bush probably would have been re-elected. If you see a snake, just kill it. Don't appoint a committee on snakes. Ross Perot. He was fun to watch. He was a crazy guy. Clinton won 370 to 168 electoral votes, and Democrats won both houses of Congress. There's music. Arkansas. 46 years old, not 79. Clinton plays both the tenor and soprano saxophone and demonstrated his abilities many times on the campaign trail. He also collects saxophones, both miniature and life-sized. Don't ask, don't tell. Stupidest policy on homosexuality in the history of the earth. Clinton endorsed the don't ask, don't tell policy that unofficially accepted gays and lesbians in the United States military if they don't say they're gay. Nobody's allowed to ask them if they're gay, and they can't say that they're gay. As long as that happens, doesn't happen, then gays are in the military. It's the weirdest thing ever. Thank goodness that policy went away. That was stupid. Clinton appointed his wife Hillary to revamp the nation's healthcare system. Congress found the plan too confusing and too complicated, so it never passed. But they tried to get universal health care back in the 90s. And then gun control. I told you about the assassination attempt on Reagan, and that a man, Jim Brady, had been shot and had been paralyzed ever since. So in 1993, Clinton passed a gun control law called the Brady Bill for that man, which required a 3-day waiting period and background checks, which completely angered the National Rifle Association. They get very big and very powerful after that. This Newt Gingrich, and he comes up with a contract with America. In 1994, Newt Gingrich led Republican attacks of Clinton's liberal failures with a conservative contract with America. Republicans won the House, and Gingrich became the Speaker of the House. When Clinton was elected, he won the presidency and the House of Representatives and the Congress. So he had the ability to make a lot of laws and pass a lot of laws because he didn't have a divided House and Senate. Right now, Biden will be the president. We have, right now, the House Republicans lost votes for the Democrats, but they still have the majority. And then right now, it's like, I think, 50 to 48 that the Republicans have 50 senators and 48 for the Democrats. And then there's a runoff on January 6th for the election for 2 seats in Georgia. So we'll see how that comes out. If the Democrats somehow pull that off and get the 2 seats, it'll be 50-50. 50 Democrats and 50 Republicans, in which case Kamala Harris, the vice president, is the deciding vote. The vice president would be no matter who it was. In 1994, Clinton passed a $30 billion anti-crime bill. Murder and crimes have fallen ever since. In 1994, Clinton signed Nafta, a very, very controversial thing, with Canada and Mexico promoting free trade. However, it has hurt U.S. industries and the economy ever since, as many factories moved south of the border to a place where they could pay their workers way less. There's no unions. They don't even have to necessarily provide health care for them. And so a lot of people had great jobs and great factory jobs. As a result of NAFTA in 1994, a lot of those factories moved south into Mexico, where they can pay them a whole lot less. Still today, many American businesses have huge factories in Mexico where they can pay laborers less. And as a result, we have lost many industrial jobs in America in the past 20 years, 30 years, 25. Clinton supported the creation of the World Trade Organization, lowering trade barriers internationally. This also helped industrialized countries, but hurt countries that were not industrialized. So also something that a lot of people have a problem with, because it makes third world nations even more dangerous or more economically unstable. In 1993, the World Trade Center was bombed by a radical Muslim group. It killed 6. They had taken a van or a truck or something like that, like a big box truck like the UPS thing, and they had gone down, I think like 3 or 4 floors. The World Trade Center parking lot, you go down below ground level. I think about 6 floors below ground level, something like that. So they went down there and they had a bomb, and a truck full of fertilizer, I guess, can blow up. And they blew up the World Trade Center, but they're huge. And so it was under one of them, and it messed up the parking lots for 3 or 4 floors above them, but it didn't bring down these towers. That's the parking lot that was bombed underneath. 6 people died. That's Timothy McVeigh, and this son of this guy bombed the federal building in Oklahoma City, killing 169. These terrorist attacks shook American faith in government. So similar to what they did in the World Trade Center, he also had a big old truck full of bombs and fertilizer and other things that would blow up. And he literally just drove to the front, because those big round things in front of Target, those big round balls in front of Target, aren't just there for looks. It's so you can't drive a car or a vehicle into Target. That's why they're there. And the same thing, the big posts that are in front of other buildings, especially government buildings, there's big posts. That's so no vehicles can drive into them anymore, because he could drive right up close to the front of the building, and he parked the car, got out, and drove away. And I think they say he called a cell phone, and it exploded, and the whole freaking front half of the building blew up and collapsed. 169 people were killed. It was awful. There were children in a nursery in the bottom of that, and like 25 or 30 or something like that. Kids died that day, and people were in there. So if you were on that back half of the building, you were literally in the building when the whole thing came down. It was like an earthquake, and the whole front came down, and you were here, but then everybody that was sitting there 20 feet away from you were gone. They were gone. They fell with the bomb to the ground when the whole front of the building fell off. It was awful. I happened to be in Europe, in Italy, Florence, Italy, with a bunch of my students that morning when we found out about that. And we were positive that terrorists from other countries had come and tried to attack the World Trade Center, to attack the United States. And then it turns out that it was a guy here from the United States of America who was part of a militia group that did it. So this is what he said. Think about the people as if they were stormtroopers in Star Wars. They may be individually innocent, but they are guilty because they work for the evil empire, the United States government. He was executed in like 2004 or something like that. I think lethal injection or something. In 1995, Congress shut down over budget disagreements with Clinton. Americans blamed Gingrich and Republican conservatism because they shut down the entire government rather than pass a budget that would help poorer people. In 1996, Clinton had shrunk the federal deficit to its lowest level in a decade. So we owed money, and he made it so we didn't owe money as a federal government. It's incredible. Nobody does that. In 1996, Clinton soundly defeated Republican Bob Dole. Ross Perot finished a distant third. Remember, he's the one that made it so that H.W. Bush wasn't able to be elected. I didn't remember that he did it twice. I didn't remember that he was in the second election. In 1996, Clinton defeated Bob Dole again handily. Being reelected, most presidents are reelected. In his second term, Clinton secured the welfare reform bill and protected affirmative action. Affirmative action tries to give a leg up to minorities who have been historically not given positions in higher power or in higher office. So that helped. He enjoyed the popularity of the president during good economic times. And then he blew it. Clinton set aside vast tracts of land as preservations, so they preserved it, and initiated a Patients' Bill of Rights for health care. Clinton sent peacekeeping troops to Somalia. It helped broker peace in Northern Ireland. For a long time, Northern Ireland and Ireland were at war for close to 100 years, if not more. The British and Ireland have hated each other for over 800 years, and Northern Ireland allies itself with Britain, and that's why there's a war with Northern Ireland and Ireland. And then he also committed American troops to NATO to end violence in former Yugoslavia. So in here, these are not correct. These are not correct. That should all be lower. Here is Yugoslavia. Here, Ireland is here. Somalia is here. And then famously, he presided over a historic reconciliation between Yitzhak Rabin of Israel and Palestinian Yasser Arafat. Israeli-Palestinian peace still hasn't happened because 2 years later this peace failed, and today it is worse than it's ever been. Clinton's impeachment and legacy. While Bill Clinton's impeachment was motivated more by party politics than serious crimes committed by the president, his sexual escapades and subsequent lies about them, just like with Nixon, lying about it, lies told to Congress diminish what otherwise was a strong legacy. This guy wrote a book, Primary Colors, based largely on Clinton's personal life and womanizing. All of these women claim to have been sexually harassed or that he had affairs with all of these women, all while married to Hillary Clinton. All of these people. All of these people. And then the one we know for sure was Monica Lewinsky. We know for sure that happened. But all of these people, geez, what's wrong with these men? Clinton's shady real estate investments in Arkansas caused some trouble in the Whitewater scandal. Financial improprieties that he supposedly made when he was the governor of Arkansas, that he was able to buy places that other people couldn't buy for very inexpensive, for very cheap. And then Monica Lewinsky. Clinton's second term was dominated by the Monica Lewinsky sex scandal. She is a White House intern. I think she was like 22 at the time. It's called Monica Gate, Lewinsky Gate, Tail, Wink Gate, Sex Gate, Zipper Gate. She's 22. Clinton had sexual relations in the White House Oval Office with an intern, Lewinsky, but then denied it under oath to Congress, and that's why he was impeached for lying to Congress. Today, Monica Lewinsky is a very famous advocate for women who have had sexual harassment claims or who have been sexually abused. So she admits that she wanted to have an affair with the president. However, it's still, even though it was consensual, it's bad because that was it's the leader of the free world, the most important man in the history, in the whole world, the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, and he basically took advantage of a 22, 23-year-old's crush on him. So that's why it's still incredibly inappropriate, not to mention the fact that he was married. Clinton called this a little white lie, but the House impeached him for perjury, lying under oath. Only the third president to be impeached, and now Trump is now the fourth president to have been impeached. Congressional investigators asked, have you ever had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky? Clinton responded, "I have never had sexual relations with that woman." It's one of the most famous lines in presidential politics, because he did. The impeachment was mostly politically motivated. Republicans were unable to get the necessary votes in the Senate to kick him out of office, however. She's taking him to get neutered. That's funny. That's funny. Keep in your pants, Bill. Clinton's image was severely tarnished by the sex scandal. Well, yeah. And then his approval rating, it dropped as a result. He did balance the federal budget. This is what we're talking about. Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, way higher, and George H.W. Bush, way higher. And so we are in debt, in debt, in debt, in debt, in debt. And then when Clinton, in his second term, he gets us out of debt. Overall, Clinton was seen as a largely moderate Democrat. He balanced the federal budget and presided over a historically strong economy. And then the election of 2000. Next time. See ya.